Brains, I have the amazing Wendy Ditta. She is going to be our guest today on The Edge. Let me explain something to you though. When you see me raise my hand and you see all of this here, don't think I got some funky skin disease, okay? Be sending me texts and emails. Well, what's wrong with you giving me some advice? I appreciate it. This is henna. I went to a fabulous party last night and it was Indian themed. So now the henna is flaking off. It's going to be a beautiful tattoo. So when you see this, now you know what that is. But that's not why we're here today. What we are here to do is we are here to be with my guests all the way from Alabama. I ain't never been down to the Bama. I got to get down. I heard that's where the get down is. Wendy Ditta. And Wendy is an amazing woman. She is an entrepreneur. She's a coach. She is a mentor. She's an author. She's a wife. She owns a yacht. She lives in a beautiful condominium at the top of the world. She's just doing it. But you know what? She said she went from gangster with a G, to God. We're going to ask her all about that because, you know, I'm telling you, when you gangster, you ride or die. You are doing the most. And she is also an owner with her husband in an air conditioning and heating company. I want to ask her a little bit about that too, because, you know, we're always worried about the carbon footprint, and I want to hear about what's going on in technology and what they're using to make it more sustainable and renewable. So that's what our conversation is going to be about. Praise, tell me welcome, the beautiful Wendy Ditta. Hi, baby.
Hi.
Welcome to On the Edge.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
All right. So, Brains, get ready. I want to hear a little bit about your story. Give us the rundown. Tell us where you came from and how you went from a gangster to a goddess.
Well, now, when I say gangsta, I don't mean gangsta, like gangsta. I just mean I was real grouchy. Yeah.
That's all right. A G card is good, especially in this environment. In this world, you need it to be a gangster.
I was so reactive. We'll get into that. But yeah, so I've worked with my husband in our air conditioning and heating business for about 20 years. But April, I'm not on the technical end. I did the accounting. I did the payroll. I was the buffer. I was the I work with the employees more so our team. So I don't really get in on the technical side of things. But my husband has been in that business for 40 years. This year made 40 years.
Oh, wow.
And so when I met him, I joined his company. And so I worked with him for about 20 years. And about 5 years ago, I sort of stepped away from the business and started doing what Wendy wanted to do. So, yeah. And that's writing and coaching. And so, anyway, I'm born and raised in New Orleans, and like you said, we live in Alabama. We bought a penthouse on the beach until we decide where we want to live. We're closer to our yacht, so you know, right now we're just enjoying life, just doing what we want to do. So.
But once upon a time, it wasn't that easy and that simple for you. Tell us about your struggle.
So, like I said, 10 years into working with my husband, I noticed I started sleeping in a little later, started taking off more often from the office, very reactive in day-to-day practice. I didn't know then, but what I know now is that I was not in alignment with what I, at the time, didn't necessarily know that it's not what I didn't know what I didn't know what I didn't know. So I didn't know that I was unhappy because I wasn't in alignment with what I was doing. I was sleeping in and not showing up because it's not what I wanted to do. And it was in my early 40s when that shift started happening. And I realized, you know, and in my book, I even mentioned that our family business has served us well over the years, but it's not my dream. It was my husband's dream. It's not my dream. And it took courage to step away from that, because for so long I made excuses and said, oh, I have to do payroll. Oh, I have to watch the money coming in. Oh, I have to pay the bills. And in reality, all I did was hire someone from within. I trained them up. They do a better job than I ever did, believe me. And now I'm off doing my thing. But it was a process. You know, it didn't happen overnight. It was about a 2.5 year process to finally cut the cord.
Right.
And do what I wanted to do.
What were you feeling in that time? Were you feeling lonely? Were you depressed? Were you also
I
withdrawing from friends? What did
I
that feel like?
felt like I felt like I was fading away, to be quite honest. I felt like I was losing myself.
Right.
Um, my whole book is really about a journey to self, um, because for so long I think, and this isn't just when I say, um, it's not necessarily women that take care of families, because the men do too, as far as stay at home and all. But this
Mm.
book is really for anyone, because when I say I felt like I was fading away, I feel like so many people can relate to that, because they're raising a family, taking care of the household, or if you're out in the field at your job, right, what pays your bills. So many people are working a job day to day, and they're not even happy doing it, but it's paying the bills. And
Right.
so we lose ourselves in the process. I mean, you talk about a zombie apocalypse, okay? This whole zombie craze was going on.
Right.
We're the zombies, because we're just getting up like robots day in and day out. We're doing the same things day in and day out without any joy. you
Right.
know People talk about happiness and think positive and all these good things, but happiness is fleeting. Joy is everlasting. You buy a new car, oh, you get happy. What if you wreck your car? Then do you get sad? It's like
Right.
we're searching outside of ourselves, in people, places, and things to make us happy, when in essence we really should be going within.
Right.
And so that's what started happening for me. So I started asking the questions, what do I want?
I tell people all the time, happiness is like cocaine. What is the next thing that's going to do it for me? What's the
That's
next thing
right.
that's going to satisfy me? Is it the car? Is it the house? Is it the money? Is it the man? Yada,
Mhm.
yada, yada, yada. We have to get to a place where we're just content. And anything you get beyond contentment,
Mhm.
brains, is a blessing. And
Mhm.
so this book has really been a blessing. Tell us a little bit about your writing process. What did you do in compiling your information for your book?
So it was a process. It took me about 2.5 years. Uh, the first the first two drafts were not suitable for the public, because again, that was Gangster Wendy, but it was such therapy. It felt so good to get a lot of pain outside of me and to get it written down. And a lot of coaches that I've had in my life suggest that you get the problems out of you, write them down and burn them or throw them away or something. But so for me, it took about 2.5 years. I didn't really know how to write a book, but I learned that you talk about, think about the things you want to talk about. So I came up with all my chapter titles.
Mhm.
And anytime I was driving, sleeping, a dream would come to me, anything would come to me, and I would always take notes and jot things down. And so when I would wake up, I would put them in that category to go with that chapter. Um, it did end up a few times, I ended up having to change the name of the chapter, because I had so much good information. It didn't even go with the chapter, but it worked
All
out
right.
with the book. So it
Right.
just works out. But it took about the 2.5 years, and I actually hired an editor, and we worked together for a little bit on it. And he says, if you do this and this and move this and change this, we can get your book out ASAP. And I said, you know what? I've been sitting on this book for about 2 years now. I'm not going to do anything ASAP. It just didn't feel right. Like I said, when
Right.
I wrote it, it was Gangster Wendy, right? It just didn't feel like this is what I wanted to put out into the world just yet. So I told my editor, I said, you know what? I just need to become one with my book. And so I took about 6 months and rewrote it. But I tell you, April, I feel like it was downloaded to me, because the way I write is not how I speak. This
Right.
book, I feel like this book is divine. I really do.
Well, of course, it's
Help me.
given birth. It's your book.
Yeah, really,
I
really.
self-published 3 books, and every one of them, I tell people all the time, every time someone opens it up, it's brand new to them. You've given
Yeah.
birth over and over and over again. Share with us a little bit about your vroom vroom story. Share that with my brain.
Okay, girl. Okay, Brain.
You're ready.
This is it's the Vroom Vroom is about Well, first of all, I had road rage. Gangsta Wendy had road rage.
Ooh.
Again, Gangsta Wendy was very reactive, girl. You know, if I was behind you and you did a four-way stop sign wrong, I'm going to chase you down and I'm going to explain to you how a four-way stop works, okay? Not
Wow.
anymore. But that was Gangsta Wendy, okay. So the vroom vroom story is my husband and I was driving, I had a Corvette. It was new, a new Corvette. And I'm driving, my husband's in the passenger seat, and the guy in front of me went off the road. So rocks got thrown on the front of my car, and I was so worried about the car. And it just goes to show you the things that I used to think are important are not important to me today. So again, this is Gangsta Wendy, and I'm reactive to these rocks hitting my car. And I love to drive, and I'd get right up on him, and I get on next to him, and we're stopped at a red light. So we're side by side at a red light. I push the button, the passenger window goes down. My husband goes down with the window because he's,
Oh,
he's
oh
so
no.
embarrassed. He's
Here
so
she goes.
embarrassed.
About to
Oh,
go.
because he knows I'm gonna get you. You know, I'm gonna get you. And so I started yelling at this guy, and he took off through the red light. I mean, it was not pretty. He took off through the red light, and my husband said, "Are you crazy? That guy could have shot you." And Gangsta Wendy says, "And I would have caught that bullet." You know, I laugh now, but I mean, I am not proud of that. I tell you, I'm embarrassed by it, to be honest. But that's just to show you. I just want the brains to understand the transformation that I've made in my life from going from gangster to goddess today.
Well, let me tell you a beautiful story, and I hope that this resonates in all my brains. I was in Beijing, China,
Mm-hmm.
and the driver was driving us, and the people would bump the horn, and other folks would wave, and they would smile, and they would acknowledge them. And I asked him, I said, well, what's up with that? You know, when you blow the horn, why is everybody so friendly? He says, because here you've avoided a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
You did not hit my car. Maybe
Right.
you were distracted at the light. Maybe your child was crying. You didn't run over my bicycle. You
Mm-hmm.
avoided a conflict. That is why we put a horn in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so brains, when somebody blows the horn at you, don't come out yourself.
Oh,
Acknowledge them with a wave.
right.
Okay, you don't have to give them the middle finger.
Thank them, right? Thank them, you
Thank
know?
them because they've
Yeah.
avoided a conflict. And I'm telling you, the results that you will get. If
Mm-hmm.
you pull into a shopping center and somebody cuts you off and get the parking space, believe and trust. If you're nice, there's going to be another one even closer.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you don't have to do that. You don't have to come out gangster on them, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But
But
I
you know what? We're so reactive, you know, and it's like we think, and I know I feel like I'm speaking for the world here, but really I know what I think, okay?
right?
For me, I feel like I was conditioned to act that way. I was conditioned to react that way because that's what we do. And because when people are nice, people are like, "What's wrong with you? Why you, how'd you?"
They
But
don't get
but weakness, kindness, it doesn't mean weakness, at all. And we have this backwards thinking, man. We really do. We're messed up in here,
well,
or at least I was.
people are so aggressive. They find
Mm-hmm.
that, they think aggression is sexy.
Mm-hmm.
And, my daughter got into a little situation here recently, and I told her, I said, you know what, baby? Dial back. Let them win. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's really what it is. In a conflict, nobody wants to lose. Everybody wants a win-win. But I'm quick to tell you, you don't tell me what my win is. I know what my
Mm-hmm.
win is. What your
Exactly.
win is. And everybody
Exactly.
brings something to the table. So
Mm-hmm.
finding some balance. How did you
Right.
do that? How did you break free?
So what happened is I started paying attention to my patterns. Okay. I mean, because I was well aware, especially when my husband is pointing this out to me. I mean, that vroom vroom story really, and I see me catching the bullet, and I'm like, who is this woman?
Wendy Ditta.
Oh my God. And so here I am, April. I have done this most of my life, and I still do it today. But I'll share you my little ritual in a little bit for what I do now. But in the past, I'd lay in my bed and I kind of relive my day. And so the room room story, right? I'm reliving in my head. Now I'm laying in my bed saying my prayers, right? I'm
Right.
one with God at night in my bed in the silence in the comfort of my home. And I'm asking myself, who was that person earlier in the day? Because that is not who I am right now in this very moment. What is going on? What is going on with you, girl? And so like I said, I started paying attention to my pattern. And so going into the day with intention, okay, really with intention to be nice, to not be reactive, to listen before I respond, all these different things. I recognized, I started noticing the triggers, when something didn't go my way, so I started asking myself, why am I so reactive? Why why do I feel the need to go our four-way stop sign works,
Right.
And part of it is control issues, part of it is if I'm abiding by the law, then you should too, I mean, it was just a lot of different things, but I was out of alignment
Is that
in
a
my
little
whole
Southern
life.
mentality?
Hmm?
Is that a little Southern righteous mentality?
It could be. I don't know, girl. But I just felt like, I don't know. It's like everything. I was so reactive. I mean, I remember returning a shirt to a department store, and the lady didn't want to give me what I paid for the shirt because I didn't have my receipt. And, Gangster Wendy says, then I need to speak to somebody who earns more money than you do.
Ooh, I know. I done called somebody a minimum wage worker too before.
Right, and it's just, but that's just me being ugly, but that's not who I am, and again, I'm laying in my bed at night and I'm like, why did I say that? Why did I act that way? And so what happened, when I said I started being intentional about my day, is I was never 100% for a long time. I'm still not 100%. I mean, I'm not perfect, but for the majority of my day, I am not judging. I am less judgmental. I am more compassionate. I love people where they are. I'm learning to love people where they are.
Meet them right where they are.
And that's all we can do.
Right.
Yeah.
You went through some intensive training.
I did.
Some great coaching. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So Bob Proctor, he actually wrote the foreword for my book. Okay. He's become a really good friend of mine and my husband's. We've been studying with him for about 5 years. And we were in the very first, so the movie The Secret. Have you heard of The Secret?
Oh, honey, yes.
Yes. Okay. So we watched that movie. We watched that movie years ago. We introduced it to our children a few years later, or a year later, or whatever. And then I don't know. It was maybe within a 5-year span. My son called me and said, "Bob Proctor's put on a seminar. Would you and Dad like to go?" And I said, "Sure." So we booked it. We booked the flight and we go. And I'll never forget the morning of our trip. My husband said, "Now, where are we going? Who are we going to go see?" And I said, "The white-haired man in the movie, The Secret." He's like, "Okay." My husband, he's just so sweet, so trusting. So we get there, and it was the most amazing aha moment in my life, listening to a lot of what Bob was talking about. And Sandy Gallagher was up there talking about lead with love.
Right.
That's where I was working towards in my life. Everything is divine timing, right? It's in his timing, not ours, right? And so
absolutely,
I know I was there at that very moment to hear those very words from Sandy Gallagher, and I started crying and I explained that in my first chapter, Surrendering into the Shift, because I'm listening to Bob and Sandy talk about lead with love, send love to those who bother you, and I'm just kind of wailing at this table in between my husband and my son, and I realized, the first person I sent love to was myself.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, because we tend to forget about ourselves, and I just started wailing, and I realized that I had been acting a certain way, and I wasn't living my authentic self. Okay, so funny story. So Oprah used to have Edgar Tolle on her show years ago, and I bought his books, and for one, I could never understand them. Now I do, because of what I study.
I know some of them is like, okay, I need the source, right. And it's a difficult read. Some things click.
Right. And now I can read them because my level of awareness has shifted, and so now I know what I'm reading. But it was funny because Oprah would say, "Do you know your authentic self?" And I'm talking to the TV. I know me. I know who I am. Girl, I was clueless. I did not know who I was. Wow. I did not know who I was. I was living a life, a Gangster Wendy life, because I had, since I'm a child, right? so I built this wall around myself, right? That's the wall. The wall is Gangster Wendy, okay?
Right,
And
right.
so since I'm a child, I've had hurtful feelings, and most of us do. We suppress feelings, and we suppress hurtful events or hurtful words. And I was very tall, so growing up, I was teased. I was a giraffe, all these different things or whatever. But
Right.
we suppress these feelings and we sweep them under the rug, and they stay inside of us, and we develop a view of how we think the world sees us. And so then I became very reactive to people. And
Well, and then
when we
it's a sense of entitlement, that I feel a certain way because of who I am or what I do or what I have or what I wear, all of that. And it's a false sense of security.
it is
And actually what it is not even a false sense of security. It's a magnified sense of insecurity.
insecurity, right? Because the ego, the
Right.
ego is huge. And here I am playing off this ego because I'm trying to protect my core. I'm trying to protect myself. I don't even know who I am. I'm portraying this life of Gangster Wendy, or I'm gonna get you before you get me, or whatever it is,
Right.
because I'm trying to protect myself. But really, when we don't feel good about ourselves, we tuck so much of ourselves away. And that's what I was doing. I was tucking my creativity, my loving goddess self, I was tucking away, but I had to peel back these layers to get to who I was.
Right.
And I did that through studying with Bob Proctor and Mary Morrissey, and learning that I don't have to listen to everything my mind tells me. I don't have to believe everything my mind tells me.
Right. Right.
And
Because it's
so,
that neuro-linguistic programming. It's that crazy talk, because we talk some crazy stuff to each other.
crazy talk. We will.
But people talk about ego. Now, I want y'all to know I have an ego coach. Oh, yes. And the ego needs to be nurtured. It comes off, people think that it is cocky, that it's condescending, that it's rude, but it's really a part of the subconscious mind that needs to be managed.
Sure.
That you need to know that sometimes you need to be a little arrogant. Sometimes you need to be a little more self-assuring. Sometimes you need to be a little bit more greedy. Because if you suppress those things in your ego, it's going to erupt. Right. And it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be a vroom vroom moment.
Right. Well, I talk about it a little bit in here. I talk about it because I mentioned something like, I thought I had to forget about Gangster Wendy and never think about her again. But really, she served me. She was the one. She was there for me when I needed someone the most. She was there for me when I had to stand up for myself. Now I just become aware of the energy attached to it, and I decide. I know. I'm in more. I don't want to use the word control, but I'm more aware now of when I feel gangster coming up, or because I can respond, I can react, or I can respond. When I react, I'm in my head. When I respond, I'm in my heart.
Right.
And I know the difference now. And I used to think that I had to be ugly to get my way, but I've since learned that I don't have to. I can be as nice as I can be and still get what I want, or approach someone, or whatever. It doesn't have to come off as ugly. So because we're responsible for our energy,
Right. Right. Because again, what you put out, believe and trust, you're going to get it back.
Right.
And so you've been rewarded because of your good deeds. You got a yacht. Girl, tell us what's going on. I want to hear about the yacht.
Okay. So this yacht, it's a catamaran. It's a 51-foot long and 25-foot wide. It's beautiful. You usually see them out in the Caribbean. And we named it Persistence, after a chapter in Think and Grow Rich. Persistence.
Wow.
And persistence in that book, in the title in the chapter, it says persistence, the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. And so I think that's beautiful. And so my husband, in my book, I wrote it and then I asked him if I could write it. So thank God it came out okay. But when he turned 50, he was depressed, April. He was on the sofa for about a month every weekend, just moaning, just not being himself. And he says, I'm 50 years old. He says, I never got my $1 million yacht. I'm 50 years old. What makes me, if I didn't get it in 50 years, what makes me think I'm going to get it in the next 20? He was defeated. He felt defeated. I didn't have an answer for him because I didn't change my way of thinking yet. Okay. We hadn't been introduced to, or we may have just been introduced to, no, The Secret. We hadn't been introduced to The Secret yet. And so anyway, like a year or two later, we watched The Secret. And then maybe a year after that, we saw Bob Proctor. And then 2 years after that, he manifested his $1 million yacht, cash money. Yeah, in 4 months. That's a good story. So when you think about law of attraction and manifesting things in your life, it's the desire that puts it out there, but the expectation is what brings it in. So he had a burning desire for this yacht, okay? After he learned how to change his thinking, okay? Because remember, when he was 50, he was defeated. So we're about a year into the seminar, and he says, I really want to get this yacht. And he says, there's someone doing a sea trial in Florida this weekend, and they said we could go do the sea trial with them. So we flew out to Florida, we did the sea trial, and girl, look, I'm on that yacht. I feel the wind blowing through my hair. I'm imagining, like I'm visualizing this is my yacht. You know, because that's how you manifest. You act as if.
You ain't got to tell me, honey.
Right.
That would blow your wig back. Absolutely. I manifested a check for $46,000 one time.
Oh, I love it.
Girl, you can pick me up with a poopy scooper. I said, this works.
It works.
But see, people, they don't get it.
Yeah.
Manifestation is not looking at the vision board. You got to work it.
You got to do the work.
It's got to be your intention. And I mean, you got to be pure at heart.
You do.
It's like folks going to God just when you're sick or you need something. You need to be on the regular.
That's right.
This needs to be something. You need to see the outcome.
Right.
You already need to see yourself on that yacht with your head going in the wind.
Hey, girl, I didn't have any problem.
They did that to me one time at the Mercedes dealer. Girl, I was going to buy a Toyota. I wasn't going to buy no Mercedes. He sat there and said, oh, can you just see your afro blowing in the wind? What's your favorite radio station? Girl, and Marvin Gaye came on the radio and put the top down. And then he put that seat cooler on there so that my hot flashes wouldn't be bad. I was in that office trying to buy that stuff as quick as I could. So the station is already seeing it, tasting it, being it. It actually has to almost be like a memory in your mind. Like something has already happened.
That's right.
And once you receive it.
A future memory. Yeah, a future memory.
It'll be a wow moment like you would not believe. And it does work. People can draw negative energy. Best believe you can draw some positive energy too.
That's right.
But as you said, Wendy Ditta, you've got to do the work. And part of that work is picking up this book. The more I learn, the more I love, and she has learned to love so much.
Yes.
Love herself, love her surroundings, love the people driving crazy in the lane to her. And I'm just so proud of you. And just
Thank you.
It's just so heartwarming because it was authentic. It was real. You know,
I
came from one place and I was able to arrive somewhere else. Tell my brains how to get in contact with you, how to purchase a copy of the book. But brains, I want you to know that you're very lucky if you go down and all you got to do is hit like, love, or wow. I will put you in the drawing to win a limited edition coffee mug and a copy of Wendy's book. But if you're not drawn, your name is not drawn, we still need to know how to get in contact with you. So tell us what we need to do, Wendy Ditta.
So the book is available on Amazon, or and if you want to reach me, so I'm a life mastery consultant also. And so, you know, I teach people how to build their dreams. And, you know, if anyone's, I mean, even interested in that, I mean, you can reach me. My website is under construction right now. We've been through some changes. So Wendy Ditta at wendy@wendyditta.com. I'm on Facebook, and the book is available on Amazon.
Well, we are going to keep our brains informed as soon as your website comes up. If you're doing speaking engagements, if you are having a party on the yacht and you need some gas. We're ready to come on down to the Bama and get down.
That's right.
Really. And I thank you and I honor you. I do, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to realize, but not only realize, to do the work.
Yeah.
It's
been a lot of work, April. It has been, and I had been on the spiritual journey for a few years prior, but again, things, you know, enter into our lives when they're supposed to. Exactly. And, you know, connecting the dots backwards, I see every step clear as day, and it all makes perfect sense. And I love who I am today. You know, it's, when we talk about goals too, goals aren't for getting, goals aren't for getting, they're for growing. And my goal was to write my book. I had to grow into the person in order to be able to write the book. I had to grow into the person in order to be able to coach others on how to make a transformation in their life, just like I did.
Right.
So it takes a lot of work, it's I kind of see myself just peeling back these layers, and every day, girl, I'm able to just peel back another layer.
You're gonna be butt naked here in a minute.
But through reflection, I really got to know who I am, and it's beautiful. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much. Would you like to leave my brains with a word of encouragement and motivation?
Well, I love this handy dandy little, what do you call these things? I can't even remember.
Hourglass.
Hourglass, thank you. So I don't know where you are in your life. I know I'm up here somewhere right now still, but give your life the attention it so deserves. Give your life the attention it so deserves.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'd like to leave with the brains today.
All right. Well, brains, let me tell you, you didn't get no sloppy seconds. You got it straight. You got it good. Okay. Uncut from a gangster to a guy.
Hey.
I love you from the bottom of my socks, baby, because my heart just isn't deep enough. So thank you so much for being on the edge. Brains, I need you to go back. We are filling up the channel on YouTube like it is crazy good. Everything is nice and condensed, 30, 45 minutes. We ain't trying to overload you. We just trying to fill you up real good, real quick. Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, all over the planet. I want to thank you for your love and continued support. Wendy, I know that you're in the midst and in the thralls of writing your second book. I need you to come on back.
Absolutely.
And share that with us here on the edge. We are going to play this over and over again. Again, thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you. Much love.
All right, Brains. Have a good day.
Bye-bye. You too. Love you.